We're going to talk about how to make your first $1,000 utilizing AI, and David is going to break that down for us. David Owasi, he's the founder and CEO of OutreachGenius AI, and he helps home service businesses never miss a sale when using AI. You know, there's a lot of people out there on social media who will tell you, use ChatGPT, use Grok, there's so many tools out there, but how do you actually make money using AI?
If I help you make $100,000, it won't be hard for you to give me 10% of that money I make for you because I've helped you make more money. So there are three ways you can use AI to help businesses make money. The first one is to create demand. The second one is to capture demand. And then the third one is to compound demand.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Rise Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Hani Mahari. I'm the CEO and founder of Hani Mobile. Today, I have a special guest. I have David Owasi. He's the founder and CEO of OutreachGenius AI, and he helps home service businesses never miss a sale with using AI. So, David, welcome, man. Thanks for being on the show, and it's a pleasure, bro.
Thanks, man. A pleasure to be here on a wonderful Monday morning. Super excited to get into it.
Let's get into it, man. So, in this podcast, we're going to talk about how to make your first $1,000 utilizing AI, and David is going to break that down for us. So before we get started into that though, David, tell me, man, AI is a massive market now and everybody's talking about it. How did you get into this industry and what's kind of your story?
Yeah, of course. So I'm actually I have a software engineering background from the University of Manitoba. I studied computer science, but also I did business as well. So I was able to, in my early years of university, run a painting company where we were going around knocking on doors, say, hey, Mr. Joe, would you like to paint your house this summer? And if they say yes, then we book them in for an estimate over the weekend. And then we sign a contract. So I did that throughout my university, which taught me everything about sales and hustling and business. And I made quite a bit of money doing that as well to pay my way through university. So that's kind of what got me to the world of business. But when it comes to actual AI, because I have this software background, I've already been delving into everything from automation to all different types of low code and no code tools you can use. I do write code as well, but I really love low code and no code options. And as AI became a thing, it just was a natural evolution for me to shift into. And it's been quite a fascinating journey to being at the cutting edge of new technology, AI.
Yeah, no, I like what you said there. I mean, you started off in sales. You're going door to door telling people you want to buy this, and in today's economy, sales is the bloodline of everything, right? And then but David, tell me, you're originally an immigrant. You came to Canada how long ago? No, tell me that when you came to Canada, there's a lot of ins and outs people don't know about. So how have you been able to sort of get into that world and have people, I guess, help you, or how did that kind of start? When you're an immigrant, it's very tough. So how did you find your ins and outs here?
Yeah, so for me, I was born in Nigeria, so I've been in Canada for about 14 years now. So it feels like a long time. But coming to Canada for me, the biggest, most important thing was having clarity in terms of what I want. So I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I knew that I wanted to be a tech entrepreneur to be specific. So once I understand the goal of what I was looking for, it was just easier to, trace my step back. What do I need to do today to be able to get to that goal? And the first thing is I need to understand how to write code and to understand technology. So I enrolled in computer science to understand that path. And then I also need to not just be in classrooms all day. I need to actually go get my hands dirty, so to speak, and actually have some business experience. So what I did was at that time on the campus at the University of Manitoba, we had a program called College Pro Painters that will basically train university students on everything to run their business while still being in school. So I actually got denied my first year because I was not ready. I barely had my driver's license that first year, but I applied the second year and I was a lot more ready at that point. I was hungry, I was passionate, and that was basically the in I had. And for me, that program gave me all the knowledge, all the resources, all the directions on how to start my business, how to register things, how to, get my first employees. They just train me and everything. So if you're an immigrant, I would say, the first thing is just look for resources that are set up to provide you with all of the information you need. You don't have to try and figure it out by yourself. There's tons of resources. There's Futurepreneur, there's NotForge if you're in Manitoba, and in different parts of the country or anywhere you are, there are resources that are designed to help not just immigrants, but new business owners to get off the ground and to get their business started, and with all the directions and information you need. So all you need to do is Google and find them. They will, or use ChatGPT really to find it. Yeah, you will get all the resources.
Yeah, no, I like that story, man, because a lot of people would tell you, you don't need education. But it's a great example, you use your education as a tool, right? And now you're building a business around that. Anybody who's listening, I actually do this by just being able to get the knowledge. So now we're going to walk into the step-by-step for anyone that's, essentially, let's say you're just a beginner who just doesn't have any knowledge. And, there's a lot of people out there on social media who will tell you, use ChatGPT, right? Use Groks. There's so many tools out there, but how do you actually make money using AI? So David, what would be the first step? Let's say, because I always like to go do a 90-day roadmap, right? Because everything you could do in 90 days, there's no such thing as 30 days. So in the next 90 days, let's say someone wants to get into AI, what would be the first step for you to kind of take? And is it going to be a product business? Is it going to be a service business? What would you get started in that helping businesses essentially?
Yeah, I'm a little biased in terms of my answer. And the reason why I say I'm biased is that I always find that the best way to make money fast on the internet is to offer services to local businesses. Like that's the fastest way to make money because you can literally just go out into the community and you will find local businesses that needs help, specifically with AI. So that's the first thing is I always find that that's the best way to start is to help local businesses. And I like to help local businesses that are not very sophisticated. And the reason why is that the threshold or the bar to impress them is not really, really high because anything you do is almost matchable for them. So that's the first thing. So the first thing is you want to really to make money online with AI. You want to understand who am I helping? So you want to say something like, I help X person. So you need to find out that X person. That X person could be a plumber, a roofer. It could be a local restaurant. You need to be very clear about that person you help. And I always find that if you have some sort of experience with that type of industry before, whether you've worked in that industry before or you've done that kind of job before, it just adds more credibility. So you want to identify that X person. So I help X person get Y results. So you need to be very, very clear about the outcome you're getting for them. So you need to understand their problem. Ideally, you'd have some experience with that problem before. You need to understand the why. What is the thing that would make their life easy? It's not just about promising them, but you need to be very clear. And the more you can be clear about the outcome, the better your offer is compelling. And then from there, I help X person get Y outcome without that headache. So basically what that means is, yes, I help this person get Y outcome, but so do many other people do the same thing as well.
Yeah.
But my style of doing it is going to save you X headache. This is my unique sauce and how I'm better than the competition. So for example, I help home services businesses or I help plumbers, roofers, HVAC, never miss a call without having to add more staff. And once you have that compelling offer, now you're clear about who you want to help. And then the question is, okay, how do I get Y? So how do I generate that result without Z headache? And we'll dive into that a little bit. But the first principle is very clear about your offer. I help this person get this kind of outcome without his headache, and then you're off the races.
No, I like that because then you can identify which market you're going to get into, right? Whether it's going to be real estate, whether it's going to be, home services, construction, right? So identifying exactly who that person is a good start.
So now that we've identified who we want to help, and in this case, we want to use AI as our tool to impact and get this outcome. So we need a little bit of a framework to understand how do we get them the outcome. Now, I have a framework I'm going to share with you that will help us kind of unpack this a little bit. So I believe that there are 3 ways you can use AI to help businesses make more money. And the idea is that if you help businesses to make more money, you will make more money yourself. So if you help other people make more money, so think of it like, if I help you make more money, if I help you make $100,000, it won't be hard for you to give me 10% of that money I make for you because I've helped you make more money. So that's the kind of mindset you have to go into this. So there are 3 ways you can use AI to help businesses make money. The first one is to create demand. The second one is to capture demand. And then the third one is to compound demand. So what do I mean by demand? So demand basically means new customers. Every business, if you go into it and say, hey, can I help you get new customers? All is going to say yes all the time. But what does creating new demand actually means? Now, it can be very, very complex, but I'm going to find a very simple way to create demand. The first one is old leads or dead leads.
Mm.
Every business has leads in their CRM that for whatever reason, they just not got into it. And it's just sitting there and it's like free money that they've not activated. You can use AI to turn those old leads back into new business for them.
100%, yeah.
And you're not doing any new work. You're not going out and creating anything new. You're just saying, hey, you've got leads in your CRM. We can use email outreach, SMS outreach. We can use AI voice outreach using AI agents and AI receptionists to actually reach out to those people and create new business for them from what they already have sitting. The other one would be old estimates. So especially in the home services space, there are businesses that they've already given a quote to somebody for a project last year, 2 years ago, or even this year. But for whatever reason, that old estimate never turned into business. So you can use AI to revive those old estimates and say, hey, John, I know that we did some estimates for you last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever amount of time, but you never moved forward. Is it not a good time to move forward? So AI is extremely good, whether it's through SMS, email, or call, to create new jobs for the business just from what they already have. Now, there are more sophisticated things you can do, like you can do, direct mail campaigns. You can do ads. There's a whole bunch of other stuff you can do to create new demand that still leverages AI to do creatives and content. But those ones are a little bit more complex, but it's still in the same ballpark. But I would always start with what's the lowest hanging fruit, which is people that are already having their CRM, people that they've already given estimates to that have not moved forward. And then once you've exhausted these two, then you can start using doing direct mail and ads. And there are a whole bunch of AI tools like clay.com, Angie's List. There's a whole bunch of tools that can help you leverage and create new demand. So that's kind of bucket number one. So once we've now created this new demand, the next thing is, well, can we capture demand for you? So capturing demand basically means for most established businesses, especially in the home services space, they already have a way that they're getting customers in, whether it's through referrals, SEO, paid ads. That's one of the biggest ones. But they have some way they're generating calls into their business. But the problem with a lot of home services businesses is that they're missing those calls because they're on the job, they're busy, get busy, etc. Calls are going to voicemail. So someone, they need, basement is flooded for whatever reason. And they're just going on Google right away and they're calling someone to fix their issue. And maybe you've done a good job of having a Google Ads up or SEO, or somehow you're ranked up there and now they're calling your business, but you're busy, you're doing an estimate, or you're just busy somehow, and now you've missed that opportunity. The person calling is not going to wait. They're just going to go to the next person, and now you've missed that business. So using an AI agent, you can take inbound calls. So you can either use voice or SMS, meaning that with the voice, you have an AI receptionist that will just instantly take the call and say, hey, thanks for calling Joe's Plumbing. How can we help you today? And then it will take all the information about their needs and just dispatch that to someone who can go help them out, or it will do a live transfer to the owner, or at least the person calling in knows that someone is going to take care of me, and then they will be a little bit more relaxed, and they will call the next person down the street. So you can take inbound calls with AI. That's actually a huge chunk of our company. That's really what we do. Because all these big, massive businesses, they get 100 calls per day and they're losing a lot of revenue. And this is a easy way for us to say, hey, you already did all the hard work. Let's make sure that none of those fall through the cracks. So you can make a whole bunch of money with AI doing this by installing these AI agents into their business already. And then the other one would be fill forms, submissions. So basically, a lot of companies, when you go to their website, they say, hey, fill out this form. This is how they're able to get the information of people who are interested in their services. So a lot of times, though, a lot of businesses, those forms, once people fill it out, it just goes to some weird CRM or some spreadsheet.
Yeah.
No one ever gets to it.
Using a third-party app, most likely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is just money sitting down right there.
Yeah.
What you can do is you can set up an automation that says whenever someone fills out the form, an AI agent will text them, or will call them, or will sort of reach out to them via email or any of those channels, and AI can do this. Again, voice or SMS.
By integrating into some type of CRM.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then it will look at your schedule and then books them. And now you have somebody who's interested in their services, and you're able to take them to the next step. Right. So that's how you capture demand for the most part, taking inbound calls and fill form submissions. And last kind of section is compounding demand. So compounding demand is a little bit more, some nuance to it. The idea is that, yes, someone has come in, either we created them from old leads or old estimates, or we captured them from when they come in. Now we've got them to an estimate, maybe we've even sold them something, they become a customer. But how do we increase the lifetime value of that person so that they're able to pay the business more? And the best person who can pay business more is someone who's already paid that business already. So they've trusted the business to deliver a service. The business did a pretty good job at that, and then you want to increase the lifetime value. Funny thing is, I was listening to Alex Mose, one of his talks, and he says one of the reasons how a business can generate $1 million a year is if they make sure that the lifetime value of each customer is at least $10,000. And so if you can get each customer that comes through your door throughout the year to pay $10,000, it becomes infinitely easier to generate the $1 million than trying to get more people to pay smaller amounts. You can increase the lifetime value of a customer. What does that mean? It means upsell. Upsells means customer has bought a $200 package. You can say, hey, John, you bought a $200 package. Would you like to upgrade, or would you like to add this other thing to get more, but still kind of, we're still going to offer you the same service, but maybe it's like more volume of the same thing, or maybe it's another service that makes sense for you, a premium package, something like that. So upsells. The other one is what we call cross sells. Cross sells is basically, I'm buying product A, but product B is actually going to be a nice addition to product A. So for example, let's just say you are doing painting. You're offering a painting services to a homeowner, and someone says, yeah, I'm going to paint all of my, my interior. And then you can say, hey, we can also paint all of your trains, or we can paint your garage, or we can paint that bathroom there. So that's a cross sell that would improve the experience. The other one is debt collection. So you can actually use AI agents to go after people who owe the business money and say, hey, John, you owe us money. When can we expect to be collected? And kind of shame them a little bit with an AI agent to say, can we expect the money to be collected by next week or whatever? And now you have a business that has accounts receivable of, $50,000. You can use AI to collect $15,000 of those. And then you can charge your business 10% of anything they're able to help you collect. You charge them 10%. So that's another one. The other one is reviews. So someone is very happy with the business. You can basically say, hey, I'm going to use this AI agent after the service has been completed to, number one, tell us on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you? And if they say 10 out of 10, great. Would you be willing to give us a Google review? And then you can charge the business for every Google review they get, or you can just charge them generally for the service. So if you think about all this framework of creating demand, right, capturing demand or compounding demand, what we do in our company is we sell this as a yearly annual subscription package of about $10,000, and the business pays us because their home services is just pretty much the same work all the time. You just change a few things in the prompt to make it fit their own business, and the same business all over again. So here's a framework you can use to start making money. Right.
No, man, this is a lot of knowledge for people to take. So you talked about earlier understanding your lifetime value. So what about the CAC, the customer acquisition cost? That has to, because I know he talks about LTV to CAC, right? Because if you know that's $10,000. So someone that's up here, right, they most likely are going to probably have to understand how much are they spending on ads, right? So how do you kind of factor that in? Let's say you're somewhere here, let's say old leads, and say I want to start over here, right? And I have a bunch of people that I have to sort of get into. How would you take that process into understanding that person's ideal client profiles? Because there's different kind of markets. So taking me that next step now, let's say they found ideal business, who they want to target, who they want to help, and they figured out this framework. Now, how can they essentially figure out which model to choose from one of these?
Of course. Yeah. So you want to find some of the lower hanging fruits. So the idea is, in the previous model, we've decided we want to work with, a roofing company. I help roofing companies add another extra, $50,000 a month without having to hire more staff or spending more money on ads. And that's like our offer, right? And then we go to a roofing company and we ask them a couple of things. Number one, roofing company, how many leads you guys just have sitting in your CRM right now in the last couple of months or last year that you guys have not touched? And then they will say, oh, we've got 500 leads. Okay, good. And how many inbound calls are you guys getting on a day-to-day basis? And they will say, we get like 15 calls a day. And then you say, oh, by the way, out of those 15 calls, how many of those calls are answered right away versus how many of them are missed? And they will say, oh, we miss about 5 of those a day or whatever. You want to understand their business, the lay of the land. And you can do that by just cold calling them, really. You don't even have to like start running ads, just cold call them, which is why I love home services businesses, because they're literally everywhere. Just walk in and then you can see home services businesses that you can start talking to. And once you, I usually like to start with creating demand and capturing demand, because that's what gets the attention the most. And once you're here, you can find where the needs are. For some people, they have a whole bunch of leads, an estimate that are sitting, and that is where you want to get started. And then you can make them an offer they can't refuse. Especially if you're starting out, you want to make an offer that is like, hey, how about I will go and do this work and you only pay me for any leads that any new appointment I generate for you. So it's like, well, there's no losing here for you, because if I don't deliver, you don't pay me anything. And if I deliver, well, you have a new estimate now, and then you can pay me for that.
So that's the guarantee. Like you tell them, give me X amount of days, I'll guarantee you to make $10,000, for example. Let's do a trial, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you basically start out in a way where there is almost no risk and no friction for them. And if they are like, well, we don't have old leads sitting, and we don't have old estimates, and there's no value to be had from there, then you want to say, okay, how many inbound calls are you guys getting? Or do you have people filling out your forms? Right? And then you're trying to figure out, where the value is. And if they have inbound calls, then you can say, okay, how about this? I will charge you for X amount of minutes of call time with the AI every month.
Mhm.
And I will charge a setup fee to get you set up, and let's be good to go. So that is how you basically find out where's the lowest hanging fruits. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, just like anything,
Yeah.
not easy.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing about this is that it's scalable, meaning that once you figure it out for one company, you can take that same learning to another company in the same space, in the same niche, with the same problem, and offer them the same package. And then because it's AI, you can just do this for like 10, 15, 20, 25 businesses, and you're good to go. Only one person, right? Just the AI agent and the prompting allows you to do all of that. And our platform and OutreachGenius allows you to actually build out the agent and do all the setup properly and well. So that's how to get started with this. Just hustle, good old fashioned hustle.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say a person is starting up here now, old leads and new leads. And fun fact, David, this 100% works, is I get calls all day from different businesses trying to sell me POSs, Bitcoin machines. But let's say we're getting started now. How would you, someone is building out from, let's say, $0. Nowadays, we all have a phone, right? We can utilize essentially social media to, find people, these entrepreneurs, these big time CEOs. So how would someone go about that? Are you using LinkedIn? Are you finding out about them on Google? So what's that route? Are we doing more? Are we focusing on sales and then we're gonna go marketing? So how would you sort of pinpoint for someone like you who's finding these businesses?
Yeah. So when it comes to generating leads and opportunities, there are sort of like 2 ways to think about it. You've got cold, you've got warm, right? You've got one-to-one, and then you've got one-to-many. So that's kind of like the framework to think about lead generation, right? So, all right, my line's a little squeaky. Okay, so cold, one-to-one, that is like sliding into people's DMs. That is like literally just cold calling people one-on-one, DMs, cold calls, like literal cold calls, just calling, like just walk in, right? So that is literally what one-on-one on using cold outreach looks like. And this is kind of where you want to get started with.
Yeah.
Just go on Google and find the number of local home services businesses with the highest Google reviews, which means that they're probably doing pretty well in their business, and just send them a DM, call them, cold call them, walk into their company, to your business, and just offer your services. And this is just a volume game. If you do enough and you have a good offer, you will have someone say, yes, sure, why not? Now, the next thing you want to escalate is cold one-to-many. So one-to-many is basically ads. So I would not start out from ads unless you have the budget, where you're basically reaching out to cold audiences, where you're doing it one-to-many. So you create one piece of content and many people can see it, and then and then they can convert, right? And then you have like a landing page.
BSL kind of thing.
Yes, a BSL, which is a little bit more complex. So if you're not very familiar with that, don't start with that. Start with one-to-one. The other one is warm. So in terms of doing one, this is content. So actually, no, that's not true. This is content. So content is basically you're basically trying to use content to go after people who may not know you or may know you. Actually, both of them are content, but the scenario is a little bit different. So for one, you're basically using content to attract people who are already following you online. So, or you're basically trying to reach out to them and you're trying to use content. In this scenario, you're trying to do something like, podcasts, right? So you're trying to do something like creating content on YouTube.
Educating them about the service that you offer and how you can help them essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this one will be more like a direct ask with people that you've already built relationships and trust with, right? If you're saying, hey, I know you, if you're interested, you've been watching my content for a little while now. If you want to support me, slide into my DMs and do stuff with me. In a one-to-many side, you're basically like posting content to the whole world, and you're basically trying to attract them at a high funnel with like a sort of like creating a YouTube podcast, like what we're doing right now here. You didn't trust that way. So if you kind of think about it from all of this angle, you're going cold one-on-one, you're going one-on-one, you're doing cold one-to-many or one-to-many. You have different ways to think about different strategies, and these strategies are not exhaustive. Like you can use many things in between days. You can use like collabs, you could do shout outs. There's a whole bunch of tactics you can use in many of this, but this helps you get started. And most people need to just start out from cold one-on-one outreach and then kind of go from there.
No, this is perfect. Also, too, when you're doing one-to-one, it's the law of 100. You got to do 100 sales calls, right? To at least, because most people, what they do is they'll get to like 20 and then they'll stop. You realize, oh, no one is answering, no one is doing this. So you'll do 100, and then same thing with content. I think it's once a day if you're just getting started, because sometimes when you're running your own business, it can be too repetitive and you have so many things. So one post a day and then 100 sales calls. And I think you're guaranteed to get that conversion because people are going to, people ignoring people are going to want to answer. So that's a great framework to use because I think nowadays marketing is a big piece to attracting clients and getting them to kind of come in that funnel. So that's good. So now let's say, okay, they've established this business. Let's say they started the business. They're making a little bit of money, right? So now they're in that stage like, okay, I'm getting a little bit of demand. Now, how do I sort of get someone else to help me now? So now essentially you figured out your ideal client profile, right? Your ICP, who you help, and you figured out which market you're going to get into. You're getting a little bit of business now. You're making, let's say you make it $30,000. So now they're getting a little bit of demand. Oh, it's getting excited. So now what's that next step? Okay, we're getting too much business. So how do we get AI to help us essentially build out that next step, whether it's VAs, whether it's, finding some people to help us?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good question. Yeah, so now you want to start scaling and you want to start, growing the business. So there are a couple of ways to think about this. And the first one is, what are the actual bottlenecks for scaling?
Yeah.
Right? Is a bottleneck, demand? Like just generating more people who will be interested? Is a bottleneck sales? Being able to convert that demand into actual customers? Or is it bottleneck delivery? Delivery is being able to actually deliver the service that the people have paid for. So depending on where the bottleneck is, that will impact the type of strategy you use to try and fix it. If it's demand, then that's actually pretty easy. So the problem is, I just want more people wanting my stuff. There are a couple of ways you can go in here. You can obviously, just keep doing more of what is working already. That's always what I recommend. If it's one-on-one and cold calling that is working, or just keep doing more of that. And you can, of course, hire someone or find assistants or find cold callers to help you with that. Generally, that might be a little tricky to do. Ads are like very, very good to scale. Content is also very, very good because you just keep doing the same piece of content and more people will keep finding you. So I always find that, just figure out what is working right now and just keep doing more and more of this and keep trying more of it. Now, of course, there's ways you can use AI to help you there. So for example, if you're doing ads, then you can use AI to do more creatives. Facebook has this new thing called Advantage Plus.
Okay.
So it's basically a tool on Facebook that allows you to even have Facebook's algorithm and AI do more of your ads targeting. So you don't have to figure it out. All you just have to do is give it your creative and tell it your budget, and the algorithm will do everything for you. If it's content, of course, you can use things like ChatGPT to create more content. You can use tools like, you can even use like, ChatGPT to create pictures. You can use 11 Labs for voice to create like more voice that is sounding like dubbing of your voice.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of tools you can use to like edit content with AI. It's really, really cool. There's one I like. It's called Submagic.
There's one too now where you're running Facebook ads. People are using AI. A lot of people are using AI to do their voiceovers.
That's true. Yeah. So 11 Labs can do that for you.
Yeah.
Submagic, I like Submagic because all you just have to do is you upload your video, like a reel or whatever, and it will do all the subtitles for you instantly with AI. It will create like all the effect, the zoom in, zoom out automatically with AI. It will actually also create like the all the colors schemes that match your brand, like all the B-rolls, everything with AI for you. So I really use Submagic. I don't have any video assistant and editor anymore because this tool just does that. I had to let go of my video editor because I was doing even a higher production video with Submagic. So there's a whole bunch of tools with AI that you can use once you understand the engine that is working best for you. Going ads or content, even if it's cold calling, you can use AI to do cold calling as well, with like emails and SMS, depending on, there's a whole bunch of like legalities around consent, but you can use AI. Now, when it comes to sales, you probably can still use AI to a good extent, but not for the whole thing, depending on how you're selling. But you can use AI for nurturing. So meaning that someone goes into your funnel, you're able to use AI to basically use like through text message or even through AI phone calls to basically guide them through the buying process and get them to buy. But in generally for now, AI is still not like absolutely perfect to like be a salesperson. You still want to have a human being. And this is where you might want to either throw a human being at the problem so you can have more salespeople selling for you, or you might alternatively decide to have a different sales process such that instead of having a one-on-one sales, you do one-to-many sales. So one-to-many sales would be more like having like an event or having like a webinar where you bring everybody who is interested in your products and your offer, and then you sell to all of them at one time. That could be an efficient way to get through the sales bottleneck. But honestly, for most people, this is a great problem to have if you basically want a more efficient machine for sales. Now, the next thing is delivery. Delivery is, how do I deliver my service with AI? And there are a lot of interesting ways you can think about this. The first one is, can I use AI to do like 90% of the work? Like 90% of the work. Because obviously, sometimes you cannot have AI do all of the work. So this means like, prep. This means like, creating documents, creating playbooks. So you can use AI to do most of it just using prompting. And I like something called MyGPT apps. So MyGPT apps are basically a series of prompts that you can create in MyGPT for a workflow where, for example, every time you upload a document to this GPT app, it knows exactly what to extract from that document. Or sometimes you can give it like the transcript of the call you had with them during the onboarding process. And based on the transcript, it's going to basically create like, either a playbook or like, a go-to-market guide, like some sort of outcome that you can execute on. So, that's one. But sometimes it can get complicated with the delivery. So when it gets complicated, this might be where you need a more sophisticated workflow. A sophisticated workflow could look something like this. Whenever a new customer comes in and they fill out the onboarding form, take all of this information and create like a copy for their website. Then also create, a nurturing sequence, and then create videos, like very more complicated. In that case, you want to use a few additional tools that can help you with that. So one of the tools that I like, that's my favorite to use for more complicated workflow, will be something like Clay. So clay.com. It's a very, very sophisticated tool. And that one will be N8N. So N8N will be another good one. So there are a whole bunch of different tools that can do like more sophisticated, complex workflows that will take input from like a call recording and then we'll like, run it through ChatGPT to like extract something from it, and then we'll create like a Google Doc and we'll put it into the Google documents, and then we'll then go from there to like then create automated emails. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with NAN.
And in the end too, it was like, I looked into it, you can actually build a virtual assistant, essentially having them go to build out that process. Maybe it's, you talk to them through WhatsApp, right? So it's kind of crazy with Indian.
Yeah, it's really powerful. Clay.com is just as if you, but Clay.com is more optimized for like lead generation and sales. And then it's like almost anything you can catch up for anything. But hopefully that was not too messy, but that's kind of how to think of, where do I automate? You think about it from, is it creating new customers? Is it closing them? Is it delivering the service? And then in between all of this, you have like different ways to think about using AI to automate the process.
Yeah, no, I like this. This is a great process to also kind of look at where you're missing, where the bottlenecks are in the business, and then mapping that out. Literally, you could even feed that to AI and tell her, hey, I'm struggling here, and then kind of pinpoint that process. Is it sales? Is it marketing? So tell me now, the last piece would probably be, someone is growing, they're having a little bit of growth. The leadership part, your leadership is crucial, because at the end of the day, I believe it's not titles, it's not profit, it's the individual, right? The individual who's in that position to, because they say a leader can only go as far as a leader at the top, right? The team can follow him. So let's say we're structuring this team, we're moving fast now. And as a leader too, you go through so many problems. Tell us a little bit of some of the challenges that you had to go through with building OutreachGenius AI, especially in this leadership role. I know that you recently went to San Francisco, I believe it was, on a trip, and you're experiencing different parts of the world, and you're interacting with people. So how has that been like as a leader to kind of, because you want to take your business to that next level, that's the stage you're currently at right now. So the founder that's out there listening to this, what could be some advice you can kind of give them on that?
Yeah, so there are a couple of ways I think about it. Is the first, that are three things to think about. The first one is awareness. So awareness is actually a very, very important skill that is overlooked by a lot of business owners. And awareness involves, self-awareness, which is a characteristic of emotional intelligence. So you need to understand yourself. What am I good at? What am I not good at? What are my strengths and my weaknesses? What are things I absolutely hate doing? Who are the kind of people I like working with? Because if you don't have this awareness, you're going to bring on the wrong people to your team. Now, it doesn't actually mean those people are bad people. They're just not a good fit for you, your philosophy, and your approach. So if you don't know what that philosophy or approach or thing is, then it becomes very hard to know what is right for you.
Yeah.
So awareness is all about understanding yourself, your emotions, why you're feeling what you're feeling, understanding your strengths and your weaknesses, and then understanding how to align everything else in your business around your strength and weakness. So for example, I am a natural visionary. Like, that's kind of my energy. I'm a sales guy. I love technology, and I'm good at technology, but I really love being in front of my customer. I did not like operational kind of things. I don't like processes and systems. And I have somebody on my team who helps me with all of those. So the first thing is really understanding, having that sense of self-awareness helps you understand what you're good at and what you want to work on in your business, and where you need help in your business, and where you need support in your business. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you need ambition. So if you're wanting to grow your business, you have to be very unapologetic about it. You need to understand, okay, what does success actually look like for me? And that is different for everybody. For some people, success is, I just want to have a simple business that is just me. I make $100K a year. I can go on vacations and I'm happy. Fantastic, not a problem. And so for some other people, I want to build something that's going to be valued at $100 million. And I want to be able to have massive impact. That is fine too. There's no wrong answer. But it's very important to have clarity on your ambition. Because once you have clarity on your ambition, it impacts everything else you do. It impacts, do I raise money? Do I bootstrap? Do I find an investor? Do I find a business partner? Like, it just impacts everything. So having your ambition and clarity on what success looks like for you. So what does success looks like based on my ambition? That's perfect and very, very important, because that will then impact the tactics and the strategies and what you do. Someone who wants to do a $100,000 a year business, they probably don't have to do a lot of traveling. They don't have to go to new markets. Their local area is probably enough for them. But for someone like myself who's trying to do something much, much bigger, well, I know that I have to go into bigger market, and that's why I do a lot of traveling. And then the last one is leverage. So I always think about what are the vehicles that can help me 100x my outcome? And I think, when I was at the last Honey Lounge, you talked about a little bit. Yeah,
Where she's a leverage. Yeah.
yes. I define them a little bit in the different words, but
Yeah.
I have labor, I have capital,
Nice.
I have code, and then I have content,
Okay.
right? So when you think about these 4 levers of leverage, labor, how am I going to hire people? Which kind of bleeds a little bit into what kind of people do I need to hire? Have we done that work already? Capital, how am I going to get funding for this thing? Am I going to bootstrap this thing? Am I going to go find business partners? Am I going to find investors? And with that lever of leverage, money is very important to fuel a business, but you need to understand what you're trying to do. And then code is software. What kind of software do I use? And we'll talk a lot about AI here, a bit about automation. So you need to understand at what scale do I need to leverage. So for example, if you're looking to run a small business, maybe what you pride yourself in is the fact that it's going to be like super high personal touch. It's going to be like extremely, personal driven. Nothing will be automated. And that is fine too. There's some business owners that do really, really well with that. They can serve like 100 customers, but the 10 or 15 customers they serve, they charge them like 10K per month because it's like super high touch and high, high care. And that's okay if that's what you want to do. But knowing what you want helps you understand how to put software to work. And the last one is content, which is how do I attract more people by creating content? So these levers of leverage, coupled with the work you've done with awareness and your ambition, helps you understand how to put these levers of leverage into action to reach your goal.
Yeah, no, I really like that, man. I think the only thing that's really missing from the labor is collaboration. It's just mine is collaboration, capital, code, and content. So it's pretty much self-explanatory there. But I like the code part too. Is you can literally nowadays build a standard operating procedure utilizing AI, which is now you could use it. Yeah, it's just sort of, kind of, it's kind of crazy. Dan Martell breaks it down. He says he uses the camcorder method. Essentially, he records himself doing a certain task, right? The old way of doing things where you had to write everything. You can literally record yourself doing a certain task and then be able to sort of, now you can create a module around it. So going back to your previous thing where you said the ambition, someone making $100,000, funny enough, there's a guy on school who makes 300K with no team. So essentially, so you could do things like that where all he's doing is just recording himself, right? Talking about the thing. He's actually into the AI space as well too, breaking down the information, the things that he's doing, and now he's selling that as a module, right? So it's kind of crazy what you could do nowadays using AI, and then with no team is, well, that's like 1 in a million though. So because it requires a lot of ambition, a lot of self-awareness to say, okay, I'm just gonna focus on that.
Yeah. And on the content side, I think you were talking about school, and that's community.
Community, yes.
Content can help you build communities, which is it's even more easier to then sell your stuff. So I do like content as a way to build community. For me, I really love LinkedIn. So it's been a very good place for me, free content. I love also collaborating with other creators as well to use their own platform and basically like borrow their audience, so to speak, to sell my own services. I love trade shows as well. If you're in the home services space, trade shows are perfect because you can meet a whole bunch of people who are interested in your offer and in the same industry all in one place. I go to a lot of trade shows and I do a lot of travels there. So there are a lot of ways you can leverage content, code, capital, labor to get to your goals. And once you have clarity with self-awareness on what you want out of life, there's a lot of people when I think about success in life is basically knowing what you want out of life and getting it. That's success. So success is not having all the money in the world, is knowing what do I want out of life and then using all the resources you have available to you to get that.
Yeah.
If you can do that, it's successful.
Yeah. No, I agree too. I think once you get to a certain stage, I think that once you know that number that you're trying to reach, I think there's certain people too who are satisfied. Nothing wrong with making 100K. Also too, as a leader, you have to know where you are on that stage. For example, I'm in the phone business, and I think I talked about it in my last event. There's a lot of people in that market who are okay with just selling phones only and not doing the other stuff, which is the community, which is building people, right? So it comes down to, I think, characteristic and, how you actually deal with people. So the self-awareness part is so important because a lot of people too, on the back end, integrity is a big one. So I'm very big into integrity, karma as well too. So, as you start to grow your business, I understand that, now you start to deal with thousands of customers. When you first started with those 5 people, You just started with 5. Now you go to 10, 20, 30. Essentially, you have to keep that same composure and always remain humble. And I think sometimes as you get bigger, some people forget where they started. And it's because they look at the shiny object, which is the next part. So, and that's where the karma piece really comes in. That we know that, okay, the last 1,000 customers we've dealt with, how have we been treating them? So we want to keep that composure, because then that's how I feel like most people will start to forget where they started. But for me, the reason why I liked that part of code, I built out actually a school community. So where I help phone flippers optimize and scale their phone flipping business. And essentially what I found out was, earlier like you did, I found out, okay, I was already in the service-based business, but okay, I'm already talented at doing this. I know how to buy, I know how to sell, I know how to talk to people. I've done sales. Okay, now what's the next part of my business? I can't just work 100 hours in a week. How can I systemize it to a point where now I can start selling it to other people, right? So literally you can nowadays, I think the best way to make money now is residual income, right? You're already good at doing one thing, right? If you're good at, let's say in real estate, right? You know how to find deals. You could literally sell that thing, right? So for me, I knew that, okay, I knew how to find deals, right? I knew how to talk to people, right? I also knew a hack around Facebook Marketplace and finding arbitrage opportunities. So I'm like, okay, let me systemize this process and sell it in a module, right? And the thing is, I wasn't even selling it. I literally did a lot of content, right? Produced so much social media posts, and then people started gravitating towards it, because at the end of the day, it's about, like I said, that law of 100, the awareness part is so important. The more they get to see you, and nowadays I think it's 11 touches before someone buys a product.
Right.
So that could be you doing a simple video like this is tutorial, right? You talking about your product or service. They have to see you multiple times before they actually buy. So, and that's the stage that I'm at now, which is more of like, a product, business slash, digital product and selling that course. But you have to, the process is completely different now, where it used to be before you could just, pull up in a Tesla thing. Now you have money. So tell me though, David, now they've kind of grew their business a little bit. They have a little bit of a structure. What would be the next thing for this person? Okay, AI is taking off. It's one of the biggest topics people are talking about right now. Now you have AGI as well too. So what do you see with the current market in AI and where the future is kind of heading?
Yeah, so there are a couple of things I see. So the first one is, especially in the home services space, which is where I play a lot in, is that in the next like 4 or 5 years, every customer communication will be done by AI. So meaning that you call into a business and you want to get a plumbing work done or HVAC work or roofing work, you are expecting to speak to an AI, because the AI knows everything about that business, knows everything about their offer, knows all the pricing. There's no have to talk to a manager about this. It gives you the information you need every time of the day 24/7. So that's one of the first expectation. And the reason why I'm betting bold on this is because think about history and think about the internet. When the internet came around, people initially were like, I don't know if I want to do business online. I don't want to put all of my business stuff online. But if you don't have a website, if you don't have a way for people to learn more about your business 24/7 through a website or social media, people are like, that's weird. Are you serious about your business, right? So that would be the same thing about AI, where everyone will expect that you have an agent that can talk to me about your business and your offering and schedule me into an appointment, whatever. So that's the first thing. The second thing is having, so number one is every business will have an AI agent. And people will actually prefer to speak to their AI agent than a human being. That's the thing. The second one is that AI will become a default employee. So what do I mean by that? It means that when you start out a business, like it will be like hiring people will be like deploying AI. So it'll be like, okay, I started a business. There'll be an AI that will take all of my inbound calls. There'll be an AI that will go after setting up all of my estimates. There'll be an AI that will do all of my, bookkeeping for me. There'll be AI that will do all of my quality assurance. So the AI will become like a default employee for most businesses, where you just hire AI to do different work.
Yeah.
And the other time you bring human beings into play will be for things that AI probably can't do as well, or things that only human can do. Like, doing sales or doing that like personal coaching or touch. That's kind of what AI and what you'll be bringing human beings for. So those are some of the things that I see changing in the future with AI, having AI to every business will have one, and then AI will be a default employee for most businesses.
And I think at the end of the day, it's adaptability is so important. Either you can sit on the sideline and say that, oh, it's harming people, it's taking people's jobs, or either can utilize a tool. And because I've been using it now, I think it's been 2 years. And also, too, another thing about AI is that the more it knows about you, the more feedback you can get. So, if someone who's just started using AI today, they will not have the same experience that I've been having because I've been using it the last 2 years because it knows so much. So what would you tell people who are afraid about that?
That's funny because whenever I go to trade shows, I talk to a whole bunch of I would say more on the people on the older side who are a lot more skeptical about new technology. And the example I always give them is, hey, your business is online now, correct? If I was to tell you, 15, 20, let's just say 25 years ago, that you will be doing things online, you'll be meeting people and doing business with people who you've never met before, shook your hands. People in that generation will probably be like, no, that's not going to happen. But then that became the norm and they all adapted. And unfortunately, the businesses that did not adapt, they went out of business. So it's just the nature of the game. Don't blame the players, just it's the game. If you're very interested in growing your business, you have to figure out a way to leverage the most recent technology, which in this case is AI, to help you become more efficient. It doesn't mean that AI will do everything for you, but you have to be open-minded at least, so exploring the option of how AI can do it. And if you're not, then you become a dinosaur. You will die and get extinct, and your competitors will use AI and blow past you because now they have AI employees that can do more for them at barely any cost, and then you're still there having human beings do all that work and not do it as well, and also more expensive, which eats into your profit margin. So whether you like it or not, AI is here to stay. The question is if you're gonna get on it, or if you're gonna just stay defensive and fight the inevitability of this technology, which I don't advise you to do.
Yeah. So tell me, David, there's a lot of tools out there people can use. Let's say on the social media or on the business side, what are, let's say, 5 to 10 tools that you're currently using right now on a daily basis with AI?
Yes. So I use ChatGPT for content creation. So ChatGPT is a very powerful one, and of course you can use Gemini, you can use Cloud, you can use Grok. There's a whole bunch of different stuff there. So that will be one for creating content, and that one I use would be Submagic. This one, most people don't know about it, but I use this for editing my videos. So this one is a very good one. And then another one is 11 Labs. I use it for so I basically record my own voice, and then I use that recording with AI to create more types of recordings, like voiceovers, over B-rolls, all sorts of things. And I don't have to record them myself, which allows me to create a lot of content. And then I also use OutreachGenius, obviously, my company.
Yes.
I use this for all types of AI calls. So this would be for inbound plus outbound. And then there's a tool called Bordy. So I use Bordy to meet new people. So Bordy is a very interesting tool where you basically talk to this AI about your business, yourself as a professional, what types of people you want to connect with in terms of networking. And Bordy will do the same thing with hundreds of thousands of other people across the world. And then it will connect you with people, investors, customers, other type of experts that have similar needs that they've expressed in terms of people they want to meet as well. And then it will connect you to other people. It's a great way for networking. So I like that. And that one I like to use is called clay.com. So Play.com is a very interesting tool that allows you to, I'll kind of think of N8N to be in the same category as well, allows me to build complex workflows. So basically, what I mean by complex workflow is I can say, hey, whenever a lead comes in and submits from Facebook ads, I want to do a research about their company and scrape all their websites to understand what they do. And then from there, I want to then send them a text message that uses the personalized information that I know about them to start a conversation. And then, I want to actually have all that information moved into my CRM. And then I want to do a whole bunch of complex things and combine different tools on the internet to generate that outcome. And Clay.com or N8N is a perfect tool to do all of those. So those are just some of the many tools that I use on a day-to-day basis for my business and myself.
Nice. No, I really like these a lot. And I think nowadays it's about efficiency. How fast can this thing really go? And sometimes writing is a good thing, but with AI nowadays, you could just, come up with so many ideas and put a feed into it and kind of make the magic happen. So David, tell me, man, what does the future look like for Outreach Genius AI and where you're kind of heading to the next, let's say the next 5 years? When does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very, very excited about the future. I love home services because number one, I have experience in that space, but also it's a very boring industry. And I love solving boring problems because that's where the money is. There's there's hundreds of millions of homes in North America, right? There's like, almost a billion homes in North America, and those homes need care. Right. And that is why the industry has been around for very long, because you need a plumber, you need a roofer, you need HVAC, you need painters. So that's not going to go away anytime soon. And I'm sort of like at that sort of intersection of real world and real needs, and then using AI to meet those real needs, meaning that all these plumbers or roofers and HVAC companies are real businesses. They do have a need, and AI is here to help them. So my goal for OutreachGenius is that we become the dominant player in helping home services businesses never miss a call, never miss any customer communication, using AI agents to be that interface and help them to be more efficient and make more money. And that's the future. We also work with franchise brands a lot. So a lot of franchise brands that are huge with hundreds of units, they have the same problems as well. And we've been building relationships with them using AI to bridge that gap to help them connect with their customers.
Man, David, you got a lot of wisdom, my friend. Like, you got a lot of wisdom, man. And like I said, AI is here, and if you don't adapt, if you don't utilize the technology, it's gonna be very tough. Because nowadays, it's like you said, the future in the next 5 years, every business will have AI, right? So it's kind of crazy, but it's here and it's happening. And education is so important, and that's why we did this. So I hope this helps somebody who just wants to get started into being an entrepreneur, who wants to get into a business. Utilizing AI, I believe it's probably one of the most powerful tools we have right now. And the access, like I said, ChatGPT costs $30. I think when you do the conversions, that's less than you probably spend Tim Hortons a coffee on that per month. So it's about, I think, investing into the tools and investing things that are gonna make us better. And I'm a believer. We both have on Whoop, I believe. Yes, right. We both have Whoop on, and why? Because health is so important, and we want to track our sleep, our efficiency. The same thing with AI, and these tools that you're gonna do. The same thing with the gym, right? And so, yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. David, man, where can people find you?
Yes, you can find me on LinkedIn at David Owasi, and you can also go to our website, OutreachGenius.ai. And media, I always look forward to connecting and chatting with anyone with questions about AI.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. So this is the Ride Podcast. I'm your host. We're going to sign off and stay tuned for the next one. We're going to do more of this too. This is the first time we're doing this, and we really want to go into the education and giving people sort of that other side feeling where they could just, learn, but also apply it as well too. So I appreciate it, bro. And we're going to stay in touch. This is a wrap.